So my objective in the next maybe 45 minutes or maybe an hour, and I'll be happy to answer questions, is we are all here to listen something. And what we listen, we learn, what we learn, we adapt. So I hope that each one of you, my idea is today not to scare you all, but I am really very closely involved with lifestyle. And my domain area is diabetes, but we have just day after tomorrow, after Ganpati Visarjan, the World Heart Day coming up. So, we are going to talk a little bit around that. And I'm going to talk first on some data. So just a couple of months back, and I was the principal investigator from Maharashtra, the ICMR, the Indian College of Medical Research, as well as the INDAC study from Government of India. We were a part of this group. We came out with this metabolic non-communicable health report for India. This was published in the Lancet. It had the first page, headline of Times of India. I'm one of the authors of this paper. This was the paper which was published. Dr. Mohan is the first author from Chennai. I'm right here, it's very difficult. If you can see and read this, then probably you have very good vision. And I don't want you to read that because it's medical. But this was the metabolic non-communicable disease score. What did it tell us? It has a very distressing statistic for India. Number one, we are probably the largest number of diabetics on planet Earth. See, on planet Earth, we have 8 billion people living. Out of the 8 billion people, 1.4 billion live in China, 1.4 billion live in India. And out of the 1.4 people living in India, 100 plus million people have diabetes, 11.4%. Highest is Goa, 26.4%. Ashish told me you all have Goa also. So 1 in 4 people in Goa have diabetes. Okay, it's not good. And Uttar Pradesh is the least at 4.8%, but it will become number one because UP is developing very fast. Every state in India which develops fast will get diabetes quicker and faster. Number two is pre-diabetes, 15%. Highest is Sikkim, lowest is Mizoram. Hypertension is 1 in 3. Obesity in 28.6%. Abdominal obesity 40%. And cholesterol in 24%. So this is a very, very distressing Indian statistic. Which means that all the lifestyle changes which are happening, we are going to land up with this. And this is the map, urban and rural, because we did this survey urban and rural. As I said, I was responsible for Maharashtra, mainly for Mumbai. Dr. Yagnik from Pune, Dr. P.P. Joshi, who is now the health director for Nagpur. Those were the 3 snapshots, but we surveyed across all states of India and union territories. And this was the report which came out. Again, you can see it's very statistically bad. Pre-diabetes is very high, hypertension is very high, generalized obesity is very high, abdominal obesity is very high, lipids are very high. So we are really having a very, very large proportion of our people living with all these deadly diseases, hypertension, obesity, cholesterol, diabetes. Why are we having it? Because we are thin fat Indians. Suppose you go to US, 1/3 of America or half of America is obese. If you go to Europe, half of Europe is obese. But they don't have diabetes. They have only 5% of their population is diabetes. But when you come to India or China, more than 15% of our population have diabetes. That's mainly because we are storing all our fat in the abdomen, waist circumference. So my first take-home message to everybody is that every store of yours, you should measure waist circumference. You should not become a tailor, but you should measure waist circumference. And if anybody's waist circumference for a man is more than 90 centimeters, or for a woman is more than 80 centimeters, you are at risk for non-communicable diseases. Whether it's hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, you are at risk. It's called as abdominal obesity. Across India, people thought everybody eats only carbohydrates, idli, dosas in the south. So all the diabetes in the south. Because all the diabetes specialists formerly and all the publications of diabetes used to come from South India. So everybody in India thought कि diabetes है South Indian बीमारी है, वहाँ इडली डोसा खाते हैं, उनको ये बीमारी. And then later on we realized that when we did this survey, it was only to break that. It was called as a star study. Non-diabetic population, highest amount of carbohydrates are consumed in Central India. Okay. 66% in South India, 65% in East India, 67% in North India, 66% in West India, 70% in Central India. So it's all carbs and fats. We only are eating carbs and fats. And we don't have proteins at all. Okay, 10%. Okay. Because I was very mindful of it. That I was mindful of it for a different reason altogether. But we are a carbohydrate fat country and we don't eat proteins. We are a protein deficient. India in general has less muscle mass and we have protein deficiency. When we improve proteins, then we have a Neeraj Chopra coming. Okay, but we are a protein deficient nation. Okay, if you look at diabetics, same population. So clearly we showed that we are having too much of food, too much of carbs, too much of fat, too less proteins. Second problem is, I'm happy some people are standing here. At least we have become sust and must. Everybody sitting down. Chairs were a new invention. Chairs are a new invention, but we have become sedentary. So we all are very, very physically inactive. So sedentarism is, they call, if you're sitting down, sitting is the next smoking. Sitting on a chair is the next smoking. I hope in your stores you don't have chairs. No chairs, no? You have to stand. Okay, because the key factor for diabetes is called lack of activity, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I get a lot of people who walk when Gulshan says, on bandstand I say that every day I do 1 hour of this walk. And still I get diabetes because they are not fidgety. Exercise forms a very small component of your day-to-day activity. You have to be fidgety all the time. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay. So if you are chair bound, it is 300. If you are seated in work, it is 700. If you are doing agrarian work, it is 2300. So I will explain that in a little better way. Our ancestors were all in the gaon, villages, and they were physically very active. They had a NEAT of 2300. And now, if I have to make slides like this, and this was a couple of years back on Chennai airport making slides, you can see very clearly that our NEAT from 2300 has dropped to 700. So we have become less active. And because we have become less active and we are eating too much of carbs and fats and too less proteins, we are getting diabetes. That's why we are the diabetes capital of the world. And that is the problem. The other problem we have is we have more fat, less muscle. In our body, our muscle mass is very less because we are not doing adequate physical activity. And that is the bigger problem. We have very less muscle mass. And that's the other problem which we are having. So we have become something popularly called as thin fat Indians. Thin fat Indians. We are thin, but we are fat. Because inside our body there is extra fat. So if you go, and this study was first done way back in 1994 by a lady who migrated from Calcutta called Mary Ann Banerjee. She went to New York, in Brooklyn, where US Open is played. And she did a study on taxi drivers of New York who were healthy, they were not diabetic. She picked up Africans who had migrated from Africa, Indian Pakistanis and Bangladeshis who had migrated from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. And she also picked up white Caucasians who were staying in New York. And she did body fat scanners on all of them. And when she did that, she found that the African Americans or the whites or the blacks, we should not be calling them, but that is how it is, they had only 27% of their body as fat. But when she looked at the South Asians, which were the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Bangladeshis who had migrated there, 33% of their body was fat. Which means that we have more fat in our body compared to the Goras from America or Europe or from Africa. They have less fat in their body. And this is because we are ancestrally, we used to have sukhas, famines. So we needed that extra fat to be stored when there was a famine. Okay, 1,000 years back when there used to be famines, we stored that fat in our stomach. So that when there was a starvation, that fat could be used for energy. So this was adapted over centuries. So we are born genetically disadvantaged. That's why we need to be physically more active. That's why we have this thin fat index phenotype. And therefore our cutoffs are different. If you look at BMI cutoffs from Americans, the cutoff normally is 25, for Indians it is 23. Waist circumference is different, all our cutoffs are different. Then our physical activity, they say you do 30 minutes of brisk walk 3 times a week. That's not sufficient for Indians. We came out with our own guidelines. Every day you should do 60 minutes of physical activity. You need to sweat it out. You need to sweat it out. Okay, you need to do 60 minutes of physical activity every day. If you do 60 minutes of physical activity every day, you will make a difference. Our diet is different. So we need to have our own diet recommendations. Okay. Then of course, we have to have our own cutoffs. Our bigger problem is we eat very less fiber. All this modern food which we are eating is fibropenic. Our fiber intake is very, very poor. Very, very poor. So my first tip for everybody here is if you all want to lose weight, okay, take a teaspoonful of isopor, dissolve it in a glass of water, drink it half an hour before lunch and dinner, and you will lose at least 10 kilograms. For this tip, whoever you tell, you first take prepaid money. If you want to lose weight, you should first charge. Because if you give them a free tip, no, in India it doesn't work. I do this every day for a living, but this is how you have to train your mind. It's all in your mind. Okay, so that is what you have to do. We have less factors. So we have to look at why our body is having all these changes. And I am going to tell you only lifestyle tips because there will be lifestyle and diabetes. So lifestyle is all ingrained in our clocks. What time we eat, what time we sleep. So we have a biological clock. I am a hormone specialist, endocrinologist. So I deal with hormones. They work on cells. They make proteins or steroids. All hormones are either proteins which are peptides or steroids. Insulin is a peptide. And we are all in a clock-like condition. So we have to ensure that we first need sleep. So the one focus I am going to talk today is sleep well. See, if we don't sleep and if we sleep less and we are awake all the time, this is our brain tissue. So the brain tissue will become getting less tissue for perfusion. It will become less and all bad chemicals will accumulate in the brain. So if you sleep every half an hour less you sleep beyond 7 hours, you are accumulating toxic chemicals in your brain. So you need to ensure that you sleep well and sleep at least more than 5 hours and less than 10 hours. You cannot become a kumbhakar because you otherwise will say that doctor said sleep, you will come up late here and then everybody will be angry here, your HR and everybody will be angry here. So don't do that. Sleep at least for 7 hours. Our brain needs 7 hours of good quality sleep. It's mandatory to sleep well and that's the reason why we need to sleep well. Because sleep is the housekeeper of the brain. If you sleep less, every cell of our body will not develop. This is the human transcriptome. We can do mapping now for every cell of our body, and because you are all lay people, but you are involved with healthcare industry, each one of you is a healthcare ambassador. Because you are a part of our chain for making the change. You are the change makers of India, because if you want to improve health of India, then you are the people who can make that change. You need to be ensuring that we don't get all diseases, because we are the disease capital of the world. So it is all there. Our ancestors do it very well. It is all scripted in our ancestral tree that if you want light and life, you need to sleep well. If you sleep less, what happens? Your blood pressure gets affected. If you sleep only for 2 or 3 hours and you measure your blood pressure, it will be high. If you sleep for 8 hours, your blood pressure will be low. So what happens when you sleep? Your blood pressure comes down. It's called as the nocturnal dip. At night, there is nocturnal dip. And if you don't sleep well, then your blood pressure doesn't dip. And that's something very important to recognize. So a biological clock, in healthy people, the heart rate, blood pressure increase in day, and during night, when you sleep, it comes down. So blood pressure, heart rate, cardiac output, our catecholamines, adrenaline, they rise during the day and come down during the night. And when you do more activity, it is improved very well. So remember that in our circadian rhythm, the lowest blood pressure is at night. And that is called as nocturnal dipping. What happens when you get heart attacks? All heart attacks occur in the morning. Strokes occur in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And all those are because the night blood pressure doesn't fall. In the morning there is a blood pressure surge and the blood pressure variability occurs. So whether it is a cardiac event, brain event, damage to your retina, all that occurs early morning. Why is sleeping important? Okay, sleeping is important because if you sleep well, your blood pressure will fall properly at night. Morning blood pressure will not suddenly rise, so you won't get a heart attack, stroke, cardiac death, ischemic episodes. You see now, a lot of times you see in the newspapers that one healthy person was gymming and he died on the spot. The reason is because every day 1 hour he is going to the gym, but he's sleeping only for 4 hours. He's all the time addicted to this device. You know what is this? This is the new cigarette. Mobile phone is a new cigarette. Okay, mobile phone is a new cigarette. You are addicted. This is called digital intoxication. Sitting is the next smoking. This is a new cigarette. Okay, if you are all the time, even now when I am talking, she's all the time doing this thing. Don't take pictures of it. Okay, don't answer your WhatsApps. Become digitally intoxicated. Detox. Okay, digital detox. No answering WhatsApp. WhatsApp ko nikal dene. Okay, half an hour before you go to sleep and half an hour after you get up, do not go on any mobile device. Okay, your brain will be clearer. You will shout less at people. You will snap less at people. You will be a happier person. If you are a victim of your digital mobile phone, okay, if you are a victim of your digital mobile phone, you will be finished fast. Blood pressure होएगा, diabetes होएगा, ऊपर जल्दी जाएगा. Okay, remember that very clearly. It's a fact. I have got statistics to support it. Okay, I have statistics to support it. That do not get intoxicated to your mobile phone. So chronobiology is a new name, and you can see here, the pain occurs in the evening. The joint pain occurs there. There is a biological clock. Each part of our body knows what to signal. Heart attacks may occur in the morning, fits occur in the evening, stroke occurs at night. Okay, anemia, crisis of sickle cell occur, perforation of ulcer. Each part is linked to our body clock. Our body has a clock. And the clock decides what time you will get what attack and what disease. Okay, and it's all linked to two systems: sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system means giving stress. So sympathetic nervous system is our system of our body, which is the one which makes you angry, which makes you snap at people, which generates stress, which generates negative chemicals. It's called sympathetic system. And then we have parasympathetic nervous system. This is all for people who become yogi. Yogi means एकदम ऐसा deep breathing करने वाले, you know, साधु संत type people. Okay, हम लोग नॉर्मल लोग हैं, वो जो एकदम ऐसा सब ऐसा करते हैं ना वो. Okay, that is parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system is a regenerative system. If your parasympathetic nervous system is good, you can control stress. So the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system decides whether you will get stress or not get stress. And that is linked to sleep. But there are different types of people who sleep. So you know, in your audience you can think, some people, they are light sleepers and they don't get sleep at all. Some people sleep and wake up very early in the morning. Some people are night owls. So we have different types of sleepers on planet Earth. And I'll come back to sleeping and its relation to diabetes very clearly. So if you sleep on time and sleep early and get up early, you are a good boy. If you sleep late and you are addicted to your Netflix or your television, okay, you are a bad boy. So if you want to get diseases, okay, consume the products which your company distributes and gives to others, then you sleep late. Okay. So there are different types of chronotypes. These are called as chronotypes. So there is a lion phenotype, which means they wake up early, get tired early evening, and their peak hours is very productive. Then there are dolphins who are light sleepers, have trouble sleeping at night. Mid-morning to early afternoon is their productive hour. They are called as dolphin phenotypes. These are actual phenotypes. These are all studied now. I studied this. There is the Indian Society of Chronomedicine, which we started. It is based out of Lucknow, and we actually studied this. Then there are the bear phenotypes. Their energy cycles rise and fall with the sun. So they work during the daytime. And then there are people who are night owls. There are some people who only work at night. Okay, when the sun sets, they start working. And when the sun sets, they stop working. Film industry is classical example. Okay, so remember, people have different phenotypes and you need to identify where you are. And their alertness depends on that. So sleep is very necessary. So my first thing is, if you don't want to get diabetes, you must sleep well. If you don't want to get hypertension, you must sleep well. Okay, what are the stages of sleep? There is a wakefulness state, and then there are two types of sleep. N1, N2, N3 called non-REM sleep. Because in sleep, your eyes move. And when your eyes move at night, it is called rapid eye movement. Okay, please don't open your partner's eyes at night. Because if the eyes are moving and all, that partner will slap you. Okay? Because it will distract that REM sleep. But this is a phase of sleep called rapid eye movement sleep, REM sleep. That is first part of sleep. And every day we need 3 REM cycles. Why we need that 7 hours of sleep? Is because if you sleep very less or you get disrupted sleep, then you don't get those 3 cycles. And if you don't get those 3 cycles, then you don't feel fresh. See, the day you don't sleep well, you don't feel fresh, things don't happen well. So you need that sleep rhythm. We have sleep rhythm wake. Secondly, it's all dominated by different chemicals in the brain. Dopamine, GABA, serotonin, so on and so forth. So sleep is very important for cognition. It's very important for mood, heart health, brain health, metabolic health. And if you sleep less than 6 hours, you get adverse outcomes and you live less. So you need to know whether you're sleeping well. You have questionnaires for it. Now, of course, we have apps for it. So one thing is important, that if you or your near and dear ones snore, you should do a sleep study. Because if you snore, it means you are getting hypoxia or sleep apnea at night, which means just as a heart ka arrest hota na, cardiac arrest and death. Similarly, your lung is getting arrested at night. You are getting sleep apnea. You are not getting any oxygen in your body. And then you are damaging your body again. So if anybody is snoring, that person is going to live at least 12 years less. So suppose that person was destined to live for 85 years, that person will die at 7, less than 12 years less. So remember, if somebody is snoring in the house, get a sleep study done, put a CPAP machine and something like that. So sleep is very important. Melatonin is the sleep heart. Okay, you are a lifestyle company, but melatonin is the key. If you go to US, Europe, over the counter you will get melatonin. You will get melatonin. So melatonin is the chemical signal for darkness. I work in melatonin, and that's the area of my research. It's a pineal gland which makes melatonin. It keeps you up all the time. And melatonin is very crucial for health. Because melatonin is the hormone. If you want to do all types of lifestyle disruptions, then you need to take treatment of melatonin. I have added melatonin in people who have disrupted, disordered lifestyles, and their whole biology has changed, their disease process has changed, because it puts you back in order. You don't need melatonin actually from pharmaceutical sources, because 80% doesn't get absorbed. In India, में मिलता नहीं, आप कर रहे हो तो अच्छा है, but bioavailable करो. But you can get it from dark chocolate. You know why people have dark chocolates at night, Ashish? Because it has melatonin. People are addicted to dark chocolates. And dark chocolates are good for health. There is science around it. Okay, so you can keep some dark chocolates in your stores. Yes. You have? In your stores, they are there.
You can prescribe it.
You can also keep cherries.
Yeah.
Cherries also you have?
Yes.
Cherries and dark chocolates, about 70%. 70% and 90% if you have dark chocolate, it's the best source for melatonin. Then banana, ginger, all wheat, oats, barley. Okay, millet dala diya maine. Okay, but millet is now put everywhere, so I'm not putting millet. Enough government advertisement is there. Okay, but all these cereals have very good sources of melatonin. Peanut butter, not popular in India, should be popular. Very good source of it. You want to sleep well, you don't need to take walnuts, almonds, cashews, pistachio. All of them are very good sources of melatonin. And of course, fruits, vegetables, spices, herbs, green tea, all of them are very good sources. Again, good quality green tea and coffee, both are not available. Do you know there's green coffee available?
Yes.
It's excellent actually. But people don't have it. So again, it's very important to understand that reason I told you that this mobile phone, the light it transmits, or the television screen, the light it transmits, it shuts off the pineal gland from secreting melatonin. That's why you don't sleep. That's very, very important to realize. And red light has the least effect on melatonin secretion. So, what should be your bedroom light? Red light. Okay, so please put red light in your house. Okay, red light. That is supposed to be the best bedroom lighting. Don't have coffee, tea, cola because they shut off melatonin at night. So night you don't have all these. And recommend to have a light dinner because otherwise you will get insomnia and aging. Yoga is extremely important. It is basically, yoga has multiple components. Actually, A is silent yoga. Okay, it has some cleansing processes which are kriyas, like dhauti, neti, etc. Then there are postural exercises. Yoga is like a fashion statement today, but it is very good. I'm sure you must link your app and all with yoga programs and all that. And it's very easy to do. These are all nothing but, with music you can do that. So simple yogasanas, just like lying down, savasana, okay, reclining bound ankle, okay, legs up, wall posture, standing half forward bend. These are simple things. This is called as Ardha Utsaasana. Okay, this is Shavasana. Simple to do. They are not difficult. Just try it out for something. It will make a world of a change in your life. Okay, these are postural exercises, so there is no connotation of that. Then there are some foods which are very good for sleep, like superfood, soybean, milk, walnuts, almond, dark cherry, yogurt, spinach, legumes, chicken, lentil, oats, herbal tea with valerian and lavender. They're very, very good for health. Okay, and then of course, worse for sleep are not the dark chocolates, but regular chocolates, fatty foods, spicy foods, alcohol, midnight snack, coffee, drugs which contain all of them, and don't have fluids after 8 p.m. Don't have fluids after 8 p.m. Music is very good for health. Music is something very, very good for health. So for type 2 diabetes, how is it relevant? Because I am talking about diabetes, I have digressed into sleep because the new guidance for diabetes says the 5 S's. If you do not want to have diabetes, you should have these 5 S's. As I told you, sitting is the next smoking. So the more you sit, the worse will be your diabetes. And the more will be your chances of getting diabetes. So you should be fidgety all the time. Second is sweating, sweat it out. Third is stepping. Next is strengthen your muscles. And finally sleep. So let us look at each one of them. So limit sitting. Breaking up prolonged sitting every 30 minutes. With a short brisk walk. So every half an hour, 1 hour, get up from your chair and walk. Now today you are forced to sit here for some more time due to me. But I'm sure you will all wait for me to finish. But break your sitting. Don't sit all the time. Don't become sedentary. Sweat it out. Do good physical activity. Good physical activity. Sweat it out. It's very, very important to sweat it out. Okay. Step. Even if you do 500 steps, there's a 2 to 9% decrease in cardiovascular morbidity and mortality. And remember, if you do 5 to 6 minutes of brisk walk every day, 5 to 6 minutes of brisk walk every day, Just 5 to 6 minutes. You will live longer by 4 years. Just 5 to 6 minutes of this. So if nothing else you can do every day, my next take-home message for everybody is at least do 5 to 6 minutes of brisk walk. I'm sure reaching this office will get 5 to 6 minutes of brisk walk. Correct? And how many of you walk up the floors here? Any show of hands? Only 2, 3, 4, 5. Alu walk. Aisa. So everybody takes a lift now. You know that all of y'all who walk up, you are doing a daily stress test. You don't need to go to a hospital and spend money on stress test. Because you are doing your own stress test every day. Because that's a very good thing you should do. I hope some more people will walk from tomorrow. Okay. Don't walk down. When you walk down, you actually unlock your knee joint and it's harmful to health. And if you have a heart condition, or if you are not medically scrutinized, don't walk up the floor. Otherwise, you'll say, Dr. Joshi said, walk up, or mere ko heart attack aa gaya. Okay. But remember that if you are not otherwise unhealthy, walking up is a good exercise. And if you feel that you can't, it's too much for you, you have become too old, okay, you feel tired, you don't have an exercise capacity, then get out on the 3rd floor and walk up. And if you are out of breath walking up 7 floors here, then you should sit down. Remember very, very clearly. So I would recommend that all of you all at least get up on 5th floor or 3rd floor. Not because you have some boyfriend, girlfriend there, but you didn't come out. Okay. Finally, we are sarcopenic Indians. We don't have less muscle mass. So that is why, Surya Namaskar is promoted in India, muscle strengthening exercise is promoted in India. Shah Rukh Khan in Pathan, his muscles at this age are also very good. They are all improving insulin sensitivity. So strengthening exercises are very important. Resistant exercises are very important. Please strengthen your muscles. More muscles you have, the more you can eat and more strong you will become. And finally, sleep. Don't sleep more than 8 hours, don't sleep less than 6 hours. Have a good quality sleep and don't be a night owl, which is go to bed late and get up late. Be a early bedder. That will make a lot of difference on time. These are official guidelines of diabetes. So I basically told you the story because just to tell you about this. Finally, can we reverse diabetes? Because if you do your lifestyle right, can we reverse diabetes? So can we reverse diabetes? Can we eat less, eat slowly, eat on time, walk more, build some muscle mass, okay, do a personalized approach and reverse diabetes? Can we use technology to reverse diabetes? Can we create a physical entity and create a digital twin of our own body? The last part which I want to talk is, can we create a digital twin of our own body? And we can. Dr. Hope talked last time on artificial intelligence. He has just come out on time because I am going to talk the AI bit on diabetes piece of it. So we are all in traditional healthcare, but every human is different. Some people are lean, some people are thin. Some people are thin, they get diabetes. Some people are obese, they don't get diabetes. Some people are fit, some people are sloppy. So we need to do clusters and do precision medicine. Can we do this? Can we use our technology to our advantage? Yes, we can. We have all this today with us. We can use technology through health devices and sensors. We can measure glucose by a self-monitor of glucose. We can put a patch, which is called as the Libre patch. Okay? We can put it on a cloud if you have iPhone. We can use mobile internet technologies. You can use databases. Then of course you can use visualization tools. And we can visualize, analyze and collect and store this. Then you can process all this for medicine management, monitoring, if there is no sugar attack, managing treatment and modify medicines and develop new drugs. And all this we can create a two-way information exchange for that individual. So we can actually create patient's individual twin. I can make Mr. Chauhan's complete digital twin with technology. I can attach a CGM patch on his body, and if you see now, many of these tennis players, they are CGM patch. Okay, they actually are doing it because glucose is where health is doing. Health is glucose, glucose is health, that's what it is. Just like we monitor temperature, pulse, respiratory rate, blood pressure, the fifth vital sign is glucose, and we can actually monitor it, and we can actually create a whole body. So we have used all these models in modern medicine, in heart disease, in brain, in human airways, in infections. What we are trying to do with this digital twin technology is we are trying to actually, this is based through California-based person. He's of Indian origin from Canada. His name is Jahangir Mohammed. He and a guy called Terry Spoon from MIT, they developed internet inside our phones was made by them. It was called Jasper Technologies. They sold it to Cisco for $4 billion and they started this health startup. What they are doing is they are mapping. Suppose you are searching something on the phone. Okay, you want to go from Mumbai to Delhi. You will make that search. After 15 minutes on your mobile phone, you will get all the deals which are available. Similarly, what they devised for healthcare space is, if you input all the data from CGM, body weight, blood pressure, medicines you take, that will all get processed through an AI system. And that process will then tell you, eat less, eat more. Walk less, walk more. For example, if today Unchanji gave me idli dosa and I had 3 idlis and a little bit of sambar, my sugar went up to 260. Then the app will tell me you have 1.5 idli and 2 watties of sambar, because sambar has more protein, idli has more carbohydrate. So they are not saying stop idli. They'll say have less idli, have more sambar. So the sugar instead of going to 250 will go only to 150. That is what that AI is telling us. AI is only giving us a direction. The action has to be taken by us. And it is very easy to do it because computers know how to do it. You and me don't know how to do it. That is what happens. And we actually showed this. I presented this data last year at ADA. We dropped the A1C by 3.3%. We took them off body weight, and we are doing our randomized control trial. In fact, next week I'm going to Hamburg to present this trial. And this was presented last year at the ADA. I'm not going into details of that. We can actually take off medicines or even insulin on many patients. And technology has become standard of care. But people don't adapt to technology very fast. So this was the presentation last year. I was at the ADA presenting this data. ADA had a press conference, American Diabetes, recognizing Indian RCT that we can actually reverse diabetes using technology. Now a lot of these companies have come up. They are all based on this CGM app. And my urge is to all of you all, you can also reverse diabetes through your systems. All you need is tie up with the app and reverse, get into a revision code. Very, very easy to do. So, finally, what are my final take home points? How can lifestyle make a change for each one of you? Because see, it is not possible for 100 billion people with diabetes who are living in India today, which I showed you through our research, to reverse diabetes. And we do not have sufficient doctors to treat them. There are only 1,000 endocrinologists like me. There are only 5,000 diabetes specialists like me. There are only 30,000 MD physicians and probably only 1 billion doctors, which is 10 lakh doctors. How can 10 lakh doctors or maybe 5,000 or 10,000 specialists treat 100 billion people? 100 billion people. I used to represent International Diabetes Federation. I'm still on that board as the Southeast Asia chair. 14th November is the World Diabetes Day. 29th is the World Heart Day. Correct? So this year, in heart disease and for diabetes, maximum people on planet Earth are not dying because of COVID or not dying because of flu. They are dying because of heart disease. Most people with diabetes also die because of heart disease. And World Heart Day is being celebrated on 29th. And the only thing is identifying them at you and me are as much at risk. Very fact that we are born in India means we are at risk. Why? Because we are thin fat Indians. अपने बॉडी में एक्स्ट्रा चर्बी है. ओके, और हम लोग सुस्त और मस्त है. ओके, टू थिंग्स. We have extra chubby, extra fat in our body, and we are sust and must. So we are the brain power of the world. We are the brain power of the world. Because glucose goes in the brain. So when there is extra glucose, we have more brain. But we are the diabetes capital of the world. And we should be the diabetes care capital of the world. So our mission is to reverse diabetes. To reverse diabetes, eat slowly. फटाफट नहीं खाना. आज जब खाना सामने दिखेगा तो सामने खाना को देखते रहने. Smell the food, eat slowly, चबा चबा के खाओ. Eat on time. Okay. Don't say I'm busy. अभी टाइम नहीं है. Okay. But breakfast खाना. Time. And have the largest meal of the day as breakfast. Large breakfast, moderate lunch, light dinner or no dinner. You can do intermittent fasting also if you want. So eat slowly, eat on time, and eat less. So avoid sweets, fried food, fast food, and dry fruits except almonds and walnuts because they are marketed from California. You know, these almonds and walnuts are a California invention. Whenever you tell anybody have almonds and walnuts, you are promoting California and America. Okay. We have got it in our brain that olive oil is the best oil, Ashrafi, and almonds and walnuts are good for health. That's not true. Yes, sir. Mind washing किया है. Brain washing बोलते हैं वैसे marketing. Okay, तुम लोग भी करते हैं. Okay, but मैं सच बता. Okay, so this is how it is. These are all manufactured. California makes the largest almonds, but they probably may have some benefit. I'm not saying they don't have benefits. Okay, but probably they are little better than the others. Not that other nuts are equally good. Okay, so remember that. Eat slowly, eat less, eat on time, eat right. So if you feast or you cheat, then do physical activity. Do brisk walk more or move more. If you can't walk, some people will say आपको पाँव दुखता है, joint pain होता है, डॉक्टर walk छोड़ के जो बोलता है बोलो. Okay, because nowadays we are very good at our fingers to manage mobile phones, WhatsApp. Our manual dexterity is at the highest. Okay, typing. Okay, and we are not doing movement or walking. Do yoga, do Surya Namaskar, do Utak Baitak. Nothing you can. All you need to do is just that. Just do 5 minutes of brisk walk, 8-10 times a day. You'll be good. And next is sleep well and sleep on time. Okay. If you don't smile, life is boring. Okay, you should crack some jokes. You should keep very positive atmosphere. Please do my last take home message: 1 hour of digital detox every day. Mobile phone बंद रख. 1 hour of digital detox. उसमें बॉस का भी फोन आएगा तो मैं लेने का नहीं. मेरे नाम पे टिकट फाड़ देगा. So I hope that you will sleep well. You will be happy today. Listen little bit from me. Okay? Whatever little you listen from me, learn and adapt. Practice it. If you can't practice this, no, my lecture is waste. And if you want to give all these advices to anybody else, okay, you are a healthcare provider. Okay, free charge. Okay, refundable. Correct, no? Refundable. Dr. Oak, before you came, I told him a tip to lose weight. Tip to lose weight is first charge money. Okay, 1 kg, 10,000 rupees. Take the money and say it is refundable. And then give lifestyle advice, automatically weight will go. Okay, so this is where I will stop.